Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl Tanya. Welcome to Books and Brown Liquor, and this video is my book wrap up for the month of April. Yay! April was a good reading month for me. I hope yours was good too. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about these books. I'm a little bit behind on my videos because I've been busy reading and making soap and all that jazz. So 6 books. My first book for April was, I started it like the beginning of April, but then I got sidetracked with other books because, not gonna lie, it was a little slow for me. Jennifer McMahon, The Drowning Kind, okay? So the premise of it is really interesting, but I wouldn't say this was like a psychological thriller. At no point was it suspenseful, okay? But anyway, the book entails our main character named Jax, also known as Jackie, but everyone calls her Jax. She has an estranged relationship with her sister Lexi. So one day, the story opens up with, what is it? Lex has schizophrenia. So her behavior is kind of schizophrenia. They have like she has a personality disorder. So they go through a mania. So like one day, Lex is calling back to back, leaving these cryptic messages. And Jax cannot be bothered. So she ignores her sister's call. The next day, she discovers her sister is dead. She discovers that her sister has drowned in the family pool, which is odd because Lexi was an expert swimmer. So when she arrives at Lexi's house, and the house is all in disrepair. It's a mess, right? And she starts going through her sister's belongings, and she realizes that Lexi was doing research on the pool. It's not a chlorine pool in the back of their yard. It is a pool made of natural springs. So her sister was doing research on not only the pool, but the land going back, the history of the land where their family home was built. And basically she decides to pick up the research where her sister left off. Excuse me. So that is a really good premise, but like I said, to me this read like a contemporary fiction. It didn't really read like a psychological thriller. So I enjoyed the story, but at no point was it like suspenseful. That's all I'm saying. I didn't dislike it, but it had creepy undertones, but it wasn't like, to me, it wasn't psychological. So for me, this was a 2 stars because it was kind of lukewarm for me, but it was a decent read. So I'm not going to dog it. That's my opinion on that. So the next book was, I talked about this earlier in the month, last month, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. You have a wedding party in it's an island off the coast of Ireland. Very scenic, very beautiful. At the same time, the location of the wedding, it's beautiful, but it's a little creepy because not only is the water very choppy to get to this location, this is a location wedding, so the people have to take a boat over like very choppy water. One of the guests is like actually getting sick on the way there. So I'm like, this is where you want to have a wedding? But anyway, it had the potential to be a really beautiful wedding. It was. But the story is told from multiple points of view. And after this beautiful, wonderful wedding, a body pops up. So as you're reading the story, like I said before, this author gives you little breadcrumbs. It starts kind of slow, but she gives you the bits and pieces to put the climactic conclusion together. So when you get to the end and you discover who is murdered and why, it all makes sense, okay? And I don't want to give too much away. That's all I have to say about that. But I did enjoy it. One thing I will say, it wasn't the most realistic conclusion, but hold up, what is that? What is that? I don't like stuff. I saw like a little thing on my, okay, we're gonna edit this out. Yeah, we're gonna edit that out. Okay, now my hair looks crazy. Wow. Okay. But like I said, it wasn't the most realistic conclusion. But one thing I will say, this book reminded me of that movie Crash, how you have like all different characters and then like their paths kind of cross. I will just say that it was just parts of it were not realistic to me. So that's all I have to say about that. Okay, moving right along. The next book was The Troop by Nick Cutter. Oh my God. Okay, I've been dying to read this book. I've been hearing about this book for years and I decided to do it. It's the creepiest thing I ever read. This book is so disgusting. I couldn't finish it. So I'm like, nah, come on, I gotta read this, right? So to me, it was a good story. It wasn't that bad as far as like the gore and creep factor. So what you have is the story takes place on Prince Edward Island in Canada, and they're off the coast of Prince Edward Island, an isolated location called Flagstaff Island. And you got 5 Boy Scouts and their leader, Master Tim. And they go here for the weekend. Like a boat has to drop them off and they are alone. First of all, they are not alone. And this book reminds me of sorry, a text just popped up. This book reminds me of Lord of the Flies meets Contagion, because like I said before in my book review, it's hard to pinpoint a bad guy when it's not a person. The threat here is biological, okay? So these boys are isolated on this island. Supposedly they're supposed to be alone. Turns out they're not alone. And they're left to deal with this cryptic reality. Number one, no one is coming to save them. It is up to them to survive. And they're put in this terrifying situation. So like I said, it's think Contagion, all right? And like I said, the threat is biological. So this is when science goes wrong. When some scientists are in a lab and they're creating some shit that's supposed to help you, but like they make a mistake and then it gets loose, okay? And these boys, what it does to their character, what it does to them physically, that's the part that people are talking about that's disgusting, because the writing is very good. He is very, very detailed and descriptive of all of the disgusting things that happen to these bodies when they are invaded with this thing. All right, so lots of details. Some people mentioned animal cruelty. It's not like the animal cruelty is like purposely done. It's not done like in a serial killer form, but sometimes animals get hurt. Like when you're outside, sometimes you'll see a dog hit by a car, or, you know, a possum run over. It's not, I'm not going to get into that, but I will say it's very descriptive with the gore. So you've been warned. Okay. All right. Moving on to the next book. Creep. I got a little paperback version on thriftbooks.com. Creep by Jennifer Hillier. Okay. What turned me on to this author was Jar of Hearts. Loved it. So I was like, yo, let me check out Creep. It's a story about a stalker. Yeah. That should be interesting. So this is a psychological thriller. Our main character, Sheila. Sheila is a professor at a college. And unfortunately, Sheila was feeling her teaching assistant, what his name is? Ethan Wolf. He's a good looking guy. You know, she's in her late 30s. He's a good looking guy in his young 20s. So he's legal. Okay. So she had an affair. She had a sexual relationship with her teaching aide. Okay. And she's in a relationship with a man named Morris. I read this toward the beginning of the month, so. But anyway, she's in a relationship with this guy, and then he proposes. So she's like, oh, damn, I got to cut off my side piece because like I'm about to get married now. You know, it makes sense. So she lets Ethan know, you know, we can no longer continue our affair. I'm about to get married. So this has to stop. And Ethan is not having it. Ethan is not having it. Ethan is like going above and beyond to make her life a living hell. Okay? Number one, I have to say, one thing I notice about books and movies is that whenever a female character, woman who is sexually liberated, whenever she decides to end a sexual relationship or end an affair, there's always consequences. Why? Men do this all the time. Men sleep with whoever they want to, and there's no consequences. But when a woman decides, I don't want to do this anymore, it's time for me to go live the happy married life, there's always consequences. Why does she have to get physically hurt because she don't want to sleep with you no more? Why does her life have to be ruined because she don't want to sleep with you no more? This is a young dude. He's 23 years old. He's very good looking, and he works on a college campus surrounded by young, beautiful women, and they're legal. What's the problem? Why can't you move on with your life? I'm just saying. So he makes it his business to make her life a living hell, and he succeeds, okay? Now, the book starts off like really exciting. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. The book got slow in the middle, okay? And I think that in the middle, it's kind of tedious. You know, you're getting the important information. Things are happening, but it's happening at a very slow pace. So there were times where I was like, do I want to finish this? I was literally about to entertain some other books. But then around chapter 32, I was like, okay, we're back. So after chapter 32, it picked up the pace and we got right back on to our psychological thriller at the pace that I like. So it was good. I'm glad I hung in there. I'm glad I did not give up in the middle. So I'm just telling you, if you have not read Creep, it is a good book. I did enjoy it, but just be warned, the middle, it's a little slow, but it does pick up in the end. Dang, people keep texting me. And the ending is worth it. So I enjoyed it. So Jennifer Hilliard does it again. Yes, I will read more of her books. Do I recommend it? Yup. Okay, so moving on. The next book I don't have because it was on Kindle Unlimited. It is I was gonna say telenovela. It's a novella by Jeremy Ray called Petrified Women. Petrified Women, okay? And if you have never heard of this book, Google the cover, and the cover is like very creepy. Someone in my Facebook reading group talked about this book. I had never heard of this book. I had never heard of this author. So I Googled it and I read what it was about. I'm like, yo, this is for me. So Harley, this is a book about a girl named Harley. Harley has a history of dating jerks, no good guys, all right? So she's with this new guy, you know, and her friends don't like him. Hint. Now, a lot of times when your friends and family don't like your boyfriend, there's a reason. So they don't like him because he's a good guy. He's so nice. He's good looking, but he's an artist and he carves wooden sculptures of women. And every single pose of the statue is like a terrified statue, like screaming in horror, or like, it's just weird. It's weird. So anyway, the only thing wrong with this wonderful guy is he enjoys pranking her. He enjoys pranking her to the point where he scares the shit out of her. This is his only vice. That's weird. What kind of guy enjoys scaring the shit out of you? So her friends are like, nah, this is weird. We don't like this dude. A word of advice. If your friends and family don't like your boyfriend, they're probably right. No, they're not jealous. No, they're not hating on you. You know how a lot of women, when you don't like their boyfriend, they be like, she just jealous of me. She don't want to see me happy. Nah, bitch, your boyfriend is whack and you can't see it because you're digmatized. Okay? So anyway, Harley decides that her boyfriend, she's going to get him back. She's going to scare him. So what she does is she develops this elaborate prank for his birthday. She's going to sneak into his apartment. She's gonna hide in the closet. Then when he comes home, gotcha. Okay, the problem is, she breaks into the apartment. She hides in the closet. Only thing is, when he comes home, she discovers who her boyfriend really is. And that's all I'm gonna say, okay? But she discovers who her boyfriend really is. And it's not pretty, okay? So I enjoyed this. It was very quick. It was only 92 pages, so it was like a little dessert for me. I read this in like a couple of days. I enjoyed it. I think it was maybe a 4. But Jeremy Ray, Petrified Women, y'all. I recommend it. It's cool. Okay. And the last book. Woo! The Lost Village by Camilla Stern. Can you say? This was good. This was creepy. I heard this book described as the Blair Witch meets Midsummer. I would say that's accurate. Have you guys seen Midsummer? I know a lot of people did not like Midsummer. It was weird. It was different. But I think, okay, sorry, y'all. Okay, sorry, trying to get my life together, get my bangs together. I think what made Midsummer so jarring, number one, it was long as hell, but I think what made Midsummer so jarring for me is a lot of times a scary movie takes place in a creepy, dark setting. And this was a scary movie that took place on a hilltop full of sunshine and flowers and people dancing and having picnics. Meanwhile, bitches are getting murdered. So that for me made it very jarring because it was not your classic backdrop to horror, but I did enjoy it. It was weird, Scandinavian horror, and all the people talk like this. Anyway, this book does take place in Sweden, a small village south of Stockholm by the name of, I'm gonna try, Silversharn? I don't speak Swedish, obviously. Anyway, our main character is Alice. And she decides that she wants to make a documentary about this town that has been completely abandoned since the 1950s. Everybody up and disappeared. Okay, everybody up and disappeared all of a sudden. The only 2 people found were a woman in the town square that had been stoned to death and a newborn baby abandoned inside of one of the buildings. Those were the only people that were found. Other than that, everybody else disappeared completely. So if you guys ever watch those documentaries of like those ghost towns, this is like the perfect, if you can picture that in your mind, that's the perfect backdrop. They arrive at this small village, ghost town. Let's just say, sadly, the documentary never gets made. Okay? Because as soon as they get there, stuff starts going down. It's not right in your face, but it's like a slow burn, creepy, ominous atmosphere. This book is very atmospheric. It's weird to go inside of a home that's been completely abandoned. There's like a newspaper on the table, a cup of coffee, literally. Like the person just got up and walked out, and so it's a lot of questions in your mind. What makes people just get up and leave their home and leave their town? So it's very creepy, it's very mysterious, and the events that take place it's scary, it's creepy. It did remind me of Midsummer, and it does kind of remind you of the Blair Witch Project because the people go there with their cameras. And you remember the Blair Witch Project? They go there with their cameras, they're recording, and one by one, stuff is just getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And then when you come to the realization that we might not make it out of here, that's a scary realization because we all think we're not gonna die today. I'm just shooting a film. There's no way I'm gonna die today. And I'm not gonna say anymore, but I will say, I enjoyed it. I liked it. Nice little creepy tale. So yes, if you enjoyed Midsummer, if you enjoyed the Blair Witch Project, you would like this book. So that concludes my April wrap up. Right now I'm reading When You Find Me by PJ Vernon. And so far so good. Review coming soon. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching. I wish you all good reading. Bye-bye.